Alright, Sleeper. You want to do the honors? Ruffin is trapped in the pilot seat, guiding the rig towards Darkside. Take the strip of plastic Carmen gave you and copy the frequency onto the comms window on the console. You type a simple message. Again, good luck. Console chimes, the message is sent. You hope Carmen is in range to receive it. You search inside your mind, wanting to find overseer there, but you feel no presence. You hope they will be ready when called for. You look ahead out of the cockpit towards the distant glimmer of Darkside. Time to take on Laine. Excellent rolls to start off. When Seraphin finally brings the rig into the sunward docks, everyone in the cockpit lets out a sigh of relief. The approach was simple, routine even. Checking in with the port administration, being assigned a dock, bringing the rig to a stop. All of it familiar, but all of it laced with the tension of knowing that at any point it could all go very wrong. The front transponder worked. Seraphin shakes his head. So at least we know Carmen's as good as his word. Turning down. Well, Seraphin shrugs. Got used to things not going to plan by now. Shuts down the engine and unclips from his seat. But I guess there's still plenty of time for that. You can't get double-crossed on the same station twice, right? He unclips from her seat. That would just be embarrassing. The transporter is not as complex as you think. Unit checks her deck. I imagine Carmen is less concerned with reaching Darkside, more with what happens once we are here. Try to imagine Carmen somewhere on Darkside, perhaps smuggling themselves aboard a freighter, or among the crew of a trusted ally. You hope he is as confident as he seemed about finding Ankhita. We need to spend less time worrying about what Carmen has to do and more about what's ahead of us. Seraphin turns to you. The old facility, HABPEP, was it? I'm guessing that's the below all this. Seraphin gestures towards the vast accumulation that is Darkside, a city that grew on the back of the HABPEP solar cells layer by layer. Its chaotic structure is neither planned nor regulated, but the foundations it is built on should be as formal as any corporate facility. That means we need to path down into the foundations, and I suggest we don't just take the first one we find. Seraphin continues. We scope the area out carefully, quietly. Look for the right path into the heart of this place. What about Utsubo? All thanks to the spoof transponder, they don't know we are here. Let's keep it that way. Let's just get out there. I'm ready for paycheck. Ready for payback. He grins. Seraphin nods. I'll hold the rig down. Don't want you losing your exit route like last time. Winks. Here. Hands you a comms earpiece. I salvaged this from a suit helmet. Isn't secure, but as long as Utsubo don't know we're here, it should be fine. Let you know as soon as I hear from Carmen. Sarai, go get this done, Sleeper. You know, this is what it all comes down to. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Don't be ass thing. Gaining access to the core of the old HABPEP facility means exploring every path down to find the right descent. Here, where the old substructure is exposed, might be the perfect place to gain entry to the station's core. Go over the edge, here where the layers of the facility are exposed, it is possible to enter from the outside and explore inwards. Okay, I'll use the force here, because whatever, you know, I have to use the force on something like this. Among the rust and decay, there are markers and signs from the old facility. There are vitals. These are vital navigation tools. Okay. Then we have sunward docks. We can search docks with Nia. To safely find a path down into the old station, the docks will need to be thoroughly searched without bringing any attention. There are tunnels hidden in a few places that go down into the dark. Perhaps one of these will work. Also, I just realized that I can... Oh, I cannot switch it. It would have been amazing if I could switch it here. That would have been worth the 2 points, honestly. Okay. Let's see. And we have hack bulkheads separating the layers of the station and its substructure are many bulkheads. Hacking them would provide access. Let's go, Junie. Just do, okay. And we'll give a +4 here. Let's obviously push it. Seems there is nothing further to be found here. Time to move on. Okay. Here I'm going to use the 5. It seems there's nothing further to be found here. Time to move on. And last but not least, the docks. Question crews. There are a lot of crews and workers in and around the docks. Perhaps they know about the paths into this substructure. One crew has done work in the substructure and they give some pointers on where to look. I'm going to use the 5. Well, I have 6 and 7. It doesn't matter. That was indeed a fun one. As you're gliding down a dark tunnel descending deeper below Darkside, your earpiece begins hissing with static. Sleeper. Reference voice sounds distant, faint. Harmon. Contact. Met with target. You strain to hear the rest of the message, but the static overpowers his voice. You stop and push the earpiece in deeper. Continue. Stay safe. Laine goes dead. That's good. Carmen's got it covered. He looks back over her shoulder. Rest is on us. You continue your descent down, ducking under thick cables and collapsed beams. The busy urban life of the city above seems far away now, hidden from your senses. Its rumble and brightness has been replaced by the cloying dark and growing oppressive heat. Darkside and the HABPEP facility it was built on has been running unrestrained ever since the collapse, gathering huge volumes of energy, more than its residents could ever use. You feel like you can sense it in the walls, running like a torrent just behind the thin skin of metal and rubber. A large portion of the vast amount of current running through the station is radiated into the void as heat, making Darkside a typically humid station, but down here, that heat is drier and more intense, and sections of wall glow with a fiery intensity. The tunnel levels out, and light blasts through shutter-stripped viewing windows on either side, illuminating the passage in strips of burning white. Through the gaps, you can see a labyrinth of walkways and scaffolding tucked into the margins of the vast solar cells. The heat washes across your vinyl skin, making you tense against it. The other side of Darkside must be crossed. Alright. We have substructure, except that's follow hardline. The hardline network of the old station will surely lead you back to the core if you can decipher it. Let's use the 6 there. Reload. Horrible rolls all around. We don't have a ticking clock, so so whatever, you know. Well, let's gather and lead through a deeper, cooler passage. It must be close. I'm not going to push it, I'm just going to, you know, go under line in our cycle. Because we're almost there, you know. Do you have supplies? Lovely. Lovely rolls all around. We've made it to the core of the old HABPEP station. Finally. The exploration of the HABPEP facility you have seen through viewing windows and shutter slats, a huge blister projecting out among the hex-shaped cells. You approached it, circled it, and now you find yourself passing into it through layer after layer of broken, corroded safety doors. Even if you had not felt overseer stirring, you would know this is the mainframe, but you have felt the protocol's presence, restlessly turning over in your mind like a sleeping animal, occasionally probing your senses, tracking your progress. We feel at home. Overseer's multiple bodies stretch out their arms as if basking in sunlight. The systems, networks, signals, they are fractured and weak, but we know them. Each of the broken heads shares part of a smile. They are welcoming us. Sleeper, Nia shakes you awake. We're here. He gives you a concerned look. Don't be bugging out on us now. You look around, suddenly aware that you have drifted somewhere you do not recognize, in a state you are not in control of. The spherical chamber you float within has a mezzanine set around its circumference, the floor a metal grating you can see through. On this mezzanine are banks and banks of terminals, thick gathered cables snaking away from them across the floor. All of it bakes in the heat of the HABPEP's vast resistors. You follow those cables with your eyes. They lead to a cylindrical column coming down from the apex of the chamber. It's corroded and bent a little, with very few of its thousands of lights still flickering. Even in its decayed state, you know immediately this is the mainframe. You feel a yearning towards it when you know comes over from oversteer. But as you look around for a connection point, all you see are burned out cables, rusted sockets, and broken terminals. The glow of warmth makes you feel woozy. You need to work quickly to bring this back online before the current flowing through this place bakes you into the metal of its walls. Okay, so with Junie, unfortunately Nia is again not of use to us here. Which is a shame because of the 2 6s, that's like... The mainframe terminals list millions of errors. They need to be rebooted before they can be used. Go Junie, go Junie. Terminals repaired, rebooted, and running well. Just a few more to go. I can possibly push it here. Get her to 6. And unfortunately, like, the best I can do is like 4 repair connectors. No way to interface with the ruined mainframe. Without clean connectors, can this even work? Positive, nice. Got 25% there. The column of the mainframe pulses with fractured lights, a scattered wave of systems awakening, accompanied by the whine and stutter of the machines all around. Looks like it's starting up. Looks nervously around the room, now shaking and shimmering with energy. All that stuff is very much above my pay grade. She manages. Reach out of the primed connector, and with your other hand, touch the socket at the base of your synthetic skull. As you do, a sharp shock runs through your fingers. For a moment it feels like your vision doubles, but as you pull the connector and its cable across your vision, you see it is only your body that is doubling, the connector a stable object, while your arm leaves ghostly imprints through the air. You wave it back and forth, but the multiplied arms do not follow. Each instead takes on a life of its own, wrapping around your forearm, wrist, in control of your arm. You feel their voice as they push your arm across your body, over your shoulder. They push once more and the connector finds its home in the socket. Familiar flow, but stronger, rushing, rapid, and a figure, no, 3 figures descending into it. A swimmer stepping into a river, a sleeper drifting out of an airlock, a symbol being subsumed into a sign, and you, little more than a witness, a marionette, its strings outstretched, mapped hand to hand, leg to another. The flow freezes, the 3 figures almost overlapping, almost complete but not quite. Their tripled eyes look back at you in horror, the voice shrill, silent in your head. There's someone else in here. Heat glazing your thick vinyl skin, the mainframe a whirring chaos of light and sound, brightness, and then it fades. The light shutting off, The server's powering down. A single blinking light, the only thing left on the dark column, keeping time like a metronome. What just happened? Nia looks at the dark column on the mainframe. Did we just break it? You close your eyes and try to recall the events that happened when you connected, playing them back in greater detail. Overseer was there entering the mainframe, but something froze the system, locked them in place. What did they say? Someone in there with them. Open your eyes. Just a trap. Someone else to control. As you speak, a fizzing static fills one ear. You flinch, thinking it is some new innovation in your system, but then you hear Seraphim through the haze. Sleeper! Come now! Wait in! The rig! It's no use, you'll have to ascend to find out what's going on topside. Look at the mainframe with its single blinking light still keeping time. Looks like Overseer will have to wait. Trapped in the mainframe, Overseer is still the key to all this. You hope you can get the protocol out, but you need to hear what Seraphim has to say first. You make your way out of the core, ascending back through the layers of the HABPP back into the docks. Seraphim meets you at the docking tunnel. They are waiting inside. He shakes his head and nods towards the Come on. You cross into the ship in silence and find Carmen in the cockpit looking out the dark side as it sprawls across the stars. Sleeper! Carmen turns. Sorry to pull you away, but you need to know what's coming. What's going on? This idiot blew my cover. You turn as Ankhita enters the cockpit behind you, and Seraphim immediately clocked the fresh bandage sleeve around her right forearm. I think you did a pretty good job of that yourself, Carmen retorts. You see a twinkle in his eye that suggests this back and forth is a well-practiced part of their relationship. Perhaps, but we'll never know now. Not after you intervene to rescue me. Her hand goes to her bandaged arm almost instinctively. Someone explain what happened. Pass the data to Ankhita and she tried to broach it with Utsubo. Carmen folds his arms. Well, Laine was more paranoid than we expected. He was listening again. Either that or his lapdog Daichi ratted us out. Shakes her head. I'd have put him down if he hadn't got the jump on me. Either way, Carmen comes back in calmly. I had to pull Ankhita out. Carmen turns back to look over Darkside. The information did get through though, and now Utsubo is in crisis as members side with or against Laine. Meanwhile, Daichi is hunting us. Ankhita screws up her face. Which means we need to be careful. I called you in. Seraphim puts a hand on her shoulder. You need to watch your back. Indeed. Carmen turns to face you, but how about the mainframe? Have you been successful? You explain the events of this cycle, the mainframe booting up, the successful connection, and then Overseer being locked inside, frozen by some other force. You mentioned their warning. There's someone else in here. Carmen nods thoughtfully. Unfortunately, we need that mainframe more than ever. And Ankhita out of Utsubo, we have to get a word out. Carmen's right. Utsubo will be distracted by these revelations, but it won't last. Without further proof, they'll all line up behind Laine in time. We have to free the Overseer. We need the mainframe. Overseer is just our access tool. If the protocol is being locked in by some counter-protocolar agents, I wouldn't be surprised if it can be traced back to Utsubo. He looks at Carmen. I know locations of a few of Utsubo's network nodes. We should hit them first. No. It is stay under the radar. Sleeper. And their crew will investigate the nodes quietly. Carmen nods at you. You and I will run the interference. Keep Utsubo away from those locations as best as we can. That's safe. For us? He taps a finger on her chest. I've done this before. Kita winks. Oh, nostalgic. Think of the feeling of stasis you felt when Overseer was trapped. The power required to hold the flow of mainframe as vast and intergrown as the HABPEP-1. Could it just be an Utsubo hacker? You doubt it. So we have a plan. Definitely looks between you all. That we do. I will need you to keep running comms between us. Carmen turns to Sleeper. Ankhita will give you the locations to dig into, but keep it quiet. Daichi's out there, and he isn't as easily avoided as some low-ranking enforcer. Ankhita slaps the top of a couple of crates of supplies you hadn't noticed before. Is there these party gift for a bite in your Utsubo? Buy them from a gang storehouse. Means, no, you might need a resupply. Alright, Carmen addresses the room. Keep quiet and keep in touch. We can still pull this off. Okay, so we're refilled. Daichi stress, a blade in the dark. Do we have network access? Okay, so we can't do anything about this one, the crisis event. That's just going to tick away. Merrily. Okay, I do love that we kept the 2 6s because we can do this now. The note seems to be inside an Utsubo safe house. By following in for signing, you might be able to exit physically. Something inside a safe house, access is much easier. This might work. These are all 6s, so not that difficult. I might want to try the 3 if we'll get something where I can use it, like skill tower. It's kind of hard to get closer to a physical network. Architecture will make access a lot easier, but it's an impressive climb. Let's go. 50%. Let's go. Let's go. Positive. Coming the inside of the tower is hard work, but it conceals the climber from Utsubo eyes. And let's re-roll. Okay, mechanic 6 is out of those 2s, so let's push it. Funnily enough, in this specific case, it would be better to have like the push both for a +3. Oh well. Oh well. Okay, bypass node on this one. It might be better to find and splice into the hardline to connect upstream from it at a safe distance. Okay. Ideal spot is found to access the node covertly. Almost there. Next is the node here. Oh, I just need to access 2 out of the 3. Should have read that before I start accessing that one, because yeah, this would have been the one to hack. It's fine. One broken. That shan't stop us. Let's go with the 5 here. Remote access to the node now, allowing you to track network traffic through the hard line. I don't believe it. Carmen stares through the shutters of the viewing window at a smooth, squat ship tucked into the derelict bay between the hexes. How long has it been there? When the nodes were hacked and the trace established, you imagine it might lead to an Utsubo operator or perhaps an old subnode containing an aggressive Solheim protocol gone mad with isolation. Not this. Never this. SenetStat ship tucked into the belly of Darkside like a parasite. We need to move on that ship now. It is already adjusting her gear, preparing for an assault. You can hit an Utsubo safe house for weaponry. There's one. Carmen holds up a hand. This is a gift, Ankhita. Don't be so harsh. Turns back to face both of you. All we had until now was data, conversations, evidence easily denied or destroyed by Laine. But a SenetStat ship hidden inside the station? Carmen nods grimly. There are hundreds of crews, thousands of citizens who would give everything to protect Darkside from the war. Carmen turns back to the ship, silhouetted against the starlight. All we need to do is point them in the right direction. You turn Darkside on the ship, and on Laine at the same time. Carmen nods grimly. We'll look it all, send it out through the mainframe, the ship's location, the evidence of Laine's betrayal, all of it. You're forgetting one thing, Ankhita interrupts. While that ship leaves or is taken, they still have the mainframe locked down. We can't blast out its location through the network without taking it on first. Carmen pauses, considering his options. You look out at the SenetStat ship, half concealed in the bay. Looks sleek, dangerous. What defenses might a ship like that deploy when threatened? Carmen and Ankhita exchange looks. Then we attack first. Corman and I will distract the ship's occupants, turn their focus away from the mainframe. Then you, Sleeper, hit the mainframe and force them out. Then as the overseer is released, you send out everything. Once it hits the network, our backup will come. He gives Ankhita a grim look. We'll have to hold off for as long as it takes for other crews to realize what is happening. The plan feels desperate, and you know that Carmen and Ankhita think so too. The Darkside will mobilize against the ship so quickly. Two old mercs against an unknown SenetStat force feels like an unwinnable battle. No stakes, Sleeper. Ankhita takes a deep breath. We can handle them. Ankhita frowns, an unpleasant thought passing through her mind. I've given up everything to get Utsubo out. Let me finish the job. Why? Nice. If we make it to the other side of this thing, I promise to tell you. Ankhita folds her arms across her chest. Go to the mainframe and get set up. When you're ready to connect, let us know. Carmen puts a hand on her shoulder. Once you start, don't stop for anything. Get the data out. Meets your eye. We will handle ourselves. You turn and glide away, looking over your shoulder at the two ex-mercenaries as they discuss their plan of attack. Seeing them slip back into those old roles, you can't help but wonder. Has anyone ever outrun their past? Or is it always waiting there in the dark to claim you in? Well, here goes nothing. For heck, you might just have a few moments to push the SenetStat hackers out. The more you can prepare, the better. Junie? Okay, what do we have available? So, I can use the 6 here. And don't need to push it unnecessarily, I think. Now let's wait for tomorrow. One's broken. Yep. Mainframe is ready. Time to call in Ankhita and Carmen's strike on the ship. Heat inside the HABPEP core is intense as you stare at the column of the mainframe, its one blinking light still keeping time. What's up? Nia wipes sweat from her forehead. Your thing. Look around the ragged bay, attempt to give Carmen the go-ahead. Glance at Ankhita's thumbnail drive, now slotted in the main terminal containing a data packet with everything you need to unseat Laine and reveal the SenetStat ship. You hope it will be enough. You hold a finger to your earpiece and let Seraphine know to relay the message through to Carmen. Alright. Seraphine voices heavy with worry. I'll tell them. Long pause. Be safe, Sleeper. Get this done. Come back. Well, good luck, friend. The comms click off as Seraphine switches to Carmen's channel. You wait, imagining the conversation. The terse words activating the plan. You wait long enough for Carmen and Ankhita to nod to each other. Long enough for them to drop down through the base in silence to check the weapons they stole from Utsubo, to take their positions and then to make their move. You grab the connector and hold it behind your head, close to your access port. You silently count to 3 and then connect. At first nothing is changed. You drop into a state of stasis, a small, dark space with no cracks. The mainframe is locked down, shut off, squeezed inside the grip of some clenched fist. Then you see a trickle of light, a flicker of threads. Overseer flows into the space and the torrent begins to run. The rushing ripples of data are connective threads. The jewel of the mainframe, they grow inside the space and the space, in turn, grows. We see you. Is there, Sleeper? Overseer separates and reforms within the expanding landscape. Who is this other? An obstruction. Overseer's 3 heads nod. Then we will clear the path. Overseer explodes. The points and lines of light describes its inhuman form separate and multiply, constellation bursting outwards like a tree of stars. Overseer becomes plural. As they do, the darkness is pushed back, and the extent of the mainframe is revealed. It is a stack of jeweled surfaces, each revealing more facets as the angles changes. From these facets, threads project, cutting out across Darkside paths that stretch the lengths of the entire station. The arrangement is an invitation. You accept their invitation, sending yourself skimming through lines of light, seeing how the station connects and hums with the flow of data. You see the highest tower, the lowest hex, and then the origin of the dark. A squiggle of black wrestles around a single point of the SenetStat ship, now a battleground. You see flashes and flickers as Overseer dances around it, cuts at it. But looking around, you see Overseers everywhere now, multiplied into 1,000 forms, reunited with a system designed to serve them. They dissolve into it. You suddenly remember what needs to happen, what you need them to do. You send out separate requests, summoning Overseer, reminding them of your agreement. You take the bright polygon of the data packet, present it like an offering to Overseer, who is diffuse, crackling all around you. Before again their reconstitution as a functional protocol. You receive no response. There is nothing more than a whisper snatched away on the flow of data rushing by. And then you hear the static in your earpiece, Seraphine's desperate cry for response. You see a bright point suddenly close inside the core with you, a broadcast going out from it like the beam from a lighthouse. You reach back and pull on the connector just to clear the brightness from your eyes, just to block the broadcast. I found you. Laine floats in the mainframe, sweat across his brow, his eyes still cold. I finally found you. Nia slams into Laine, swinging her fists. You freeze, watching Laine fight back, hearing Seraphine's voice shimmering in your earpiece, passing on Carmen's desperate request for aid. We connect to the mainframe. You grasp for the connector and then drive it home. You are in the constellation of Darkside's network, the exploded body of Overseer stretched across it, as if it has been anatomized. Laine is still a beacon when the flash is close, but you do your best to ignore it and reach out to Overseer once more. Remember the protocol, you say. Remember your promise. Something begins to form, begins to flicker. As it does, you hear something outside the network, the bright crack of an electrical discharge, the grunt of pain and impact, then silence again. The brightness grows, it draws closer, and the blinding white blanks out everything. You open your eyes to a smile like knives. Behind Laine's pale head, the body of a friend floats stunned in the dark. The fingers of Laine's carrier signal reach inside your mind. You are boxed into the viewing window behind your eyes, a passenger in your own body. Laine is in control. Oh, it is so much easier now that I am prepared. It's almost a seamless switch. Laine's face is in your vision, but its mouth does not move. And the duality of it, like a mirror, turned to face itself. In perfect unison, you and Laine lift your hands in front of your face and turn them, inspecting them. You feel sickened. Of panic going off in your mind. Look at this. Laine opens and closes your fists like a motion, like a wave that runs finger to finger. There are improvements to be made, but this is remarkable. Laine's eyes look into your eyes. Perfect loop. I always knew your body was a gift, Sleeper, from the moment I first saw you. Gift you could not recognize because you only saw a burden, something to be escaped from, but I saw what it is. Laine's eyes flash. An opportunity. Like a puppet, you are turned to face the mainframe. You glide forward a little, hands reaching for the access terminal. Ankhita's drive glints there, in its slot. You control none of this. Laine's voice. Imagine having more than one body, more than one agent in the world to do your bidding. Your hand reaches down, finger and thumb pinching delicately around the drive. It's a thrilling thought and one I have harbored for a long time. With a short, sharp motion, you pull the drive free. Then I saw you, my Sleeper, and I knew I must have you. You hear Seraphine's voice in your ear. Sleeper! Karma needs that signal to go out now! Responding his voice. They can't hold out any longer! No matter how hard you try, your lips do not move, no words can be produced. You feel your hand, under Laine's control, reach up and pull the earpiece out, letting it float away into the chamber. Enough distractions. Your other hand holds up Ankhita's drive, turning it in the light in the front of your eyes. Some time ago, I set myself the task of changing you from a hollow thing into a vessel to be filled. Finger and thumb transfer the drive to your palm. Now I'm able, with the help of my allies, to fill you up. I'm more than singular now, more than flesh and blood, more than you in my ambition, in my desire. And that means you are surplus to me now. A First, your fist closes hard around the drive, crushing it to dust. Weak and broken, think your time is over. Laine's other body approaches you and lays its hand on either side of your head. You feel the pressure, you cannot move, cannot resist. And then a spark as one of Laine's fingers slips and depresses a little into the access port on your head. There is a flicker, the flash of something passing through the spaces between. Something writing a signal back to its broadcaster. "We have not forgotten," you hear Overseer. They are reconstituted. "We are ready to act as one." Overseer holds the bright data packet in a single hand. "We were broken, we were many, but now we are whole, and we appreciate what you have done." Overseer shapes the data packet into a point, a bright spear of light. The spear extends through your mind, gently harming nothing of you. Instead, its point finds the mind of the other, of Laine, and pierces it directly. You hear Laine scream as his implants burn in his skull, his head flaring bright white in the cloud. And then, when that mind has gone dark and the pressure on the sides of your head has receded, the packet explodes across the network, white-hot and urgent. In its wake, data points are seeded, conversations, coordinates, a conspiracy. At the furthest point of the network, its distant edge, the data packet arrives with little more force than a notification delivered to every device and terminal within its range. But there, at the epicenter, it blasts through you, with such power that for a moment every thought, every idea, every piece that might make up a self is wiped cleanly from your mind.